We live stream my message every Sunday on Facebook Live. So even if you're not able to make it to church, if you're on Facebook, you can follow along, at least for the message, on Facebook. And then that way it is also recorded and later uploaded to our website so that you can also check it there if you're not on Facebook. So there's two ways that you can catch up with the messages if you are unable to make it on a Sunday, or if you don't even live close enough. I have friends who check in from actually as far away as Canada to check up on me and see what I'm doing. So that's what Roxanne was doing, is setting up the recordings. Will you pray with and for me, please? Spirit of wisdom, give me the words to speak truth. May our hearts and our spirits hear and share your grace. In all your names. Amen. Amen. So, that video, it really does make me tear up a little bit. Need a Kleenex almost every time. It's special because that boy, Ian, made the decision to give that ball to the young Brewers fan, whose name we don't know, on his own. He made that decision on his own. You can see the moment when he looks at that other boy, the younger boy, and realizes how much it means to him, that ball would mean to him, and makes the decision to give the ball to him. You can see the wheels turning in his head. No one's prompting him. Nobody elbowed him and said, hey, why don't you give that? He knew what it was right. No one said, just give it to the kid, right? And Ian doesn't take any credit for it. You'll notice in the interview later, he says it's just how he was taught. It was just the right thing to do. And he doesn't preen himself on it either, what we adults might call virtue signaling. He's not showing off for anyone. He just saw the right thing to do, and he did it. Generosity isn't confined to things, of course. Mary's washing of Jesus' feet with perfume wasn't so much about the perfume as much as it was about her gratitude for what he had done for her, what he had taught her, and for his friendship with her and Mary and their brother Lazarus. Oh, I'm sorry, their sister Martha and Lazarus. How could I forget my own name? So one of the most important things about generosity is that there's no expectation of getting something in return. It's giving for the sake of giving, because you have something that someone else needs, and so you give it to them. As Ian, that little boy, said, I did not see that coming, about getting the bat and throwing out the first pitch. I did not see that coming. He wasn't expecting it. Now, sometimes it can be hard to receive generosity. For a long time, I had trouble in simply receiving from others, whether they were good friends or a relative or a church member or just somebody out in the community. I thought it put me in debt to them, that they would expect something back. Or sometimes I thought I didn't deserve it. But here's the thing. Receiving is a gift in itself. Simply receiving what someone wants to give to you, accepting that someone wishes to be kind, is a gift to that person giving. What if Ian had offered that baseball to the Brewers fan and he turned it down? Or his mother offered to pay for it? I would guess, from what Ian said later in the interview, that he would have turned down the money, and I think he would have been really disappointed if that other young boy had said, no, I don't want it because I didn't catch it, right? Yeah. Receiving is also a gift. Someone wise once told me, and it is so true. My favorite part of Christmas, actually, is watching other people open what I've given to them. Right? Isn't that true, I think, for most of us? By the time you reach a certain age anyway. To see their joy and their appreciation, at least I hope so, that's what I'm hoping for, in the gift, whether it's a gift card or shoes or a pair of earrings or a book, whatever it is. Their enjoyment of the gift is a gift back to me. So how are we generous? To strangers, to those we know and love, to ourselves? To ourselves? Are we generous to ourselves? Generosity doesn't have to be a grand gesture, and sometimes it's the smallest things that show the greatest generosity. Watching your partner's favorite TV show, even though it bores you, that is an act of generosity. Bringing in treats to the coffee hour, taking a coworker who's had a bad morning to lunch, right? Greeting someone at the door every afternoon when they come home, just because. Spending an evening in the food pantry, taking time to stop by the park on the way home to enjoy the sunshine. That's being generous to yourself. So in this story of Jesus and Mary and Judas, Judas is the one who's really missing the boat. Now, it sounds like he's being very virtuous, talk about virtue signaling, right? But his focus is on the value of the perfume itself, rather than on what it means to Mary and to Jesus. I don't know if maybe John, the writer of this gospel, the name that we give to the writer of this gospel, maybe John is dragging Jesus a little bit here. He sounds a bit snarky when he talks about Judas stealing from the common purse, and that was the only reason he said that. Maybe that's a little bit of gossip. I don't know. But certainly, Judas shows that he doesn't understand the real value of what's going on here. What makes it precious is not how much it cost, but that Mary wants to thank Jesus, to give him something special. It smells wonderful, and it will make his feet, which they're probably tired after so much walking on those dusty roads, they'll make his feet feel clean and refreshed. And Jesus receives Mary's gift. That's his gift back to her. He doesn't refuse it. He doesn't scold her. He doesn't say, oh, we need to sell this. He receives her gift. And Jesus' point about the poor being always with us, I think, is that the value of the perfume wouldn't really do much to decrease the suffering of the poor people that Judas is talking about, right? Because that takes systemic change. Well, a year's wages, that would help one person for 1 year, and then what, right? And that's what Jesus means by the poor will be always with you. The way the system was set up then and now, it's terrifically difficult to get out of poverty. It takes, on average, 17 years of nothing going wrong for a couple to get to earn their way to the middle class from being at poverty level. 17 years of nothing going wrong. That means no major illnesses, no chronic illnesses just diagnosed, no family crisis like a fire or a hurricane, no job losses or gaps in employment, no major car breakdowns even. All those things that can bring people from just making ends meet to disaster. Something's wrong here, Jesus is saying, but it's the system, not the people caught in it. Generosity. We give because we can, whatever we can, however we can. We may give money, or time, or consideration, or love, or clothes that we don't wear anymore, or new clothes. We may give food, or energy in the shape of physical labor, or maybe a listening ear. We give because what we can give is needed, and because we want that connection with someone else, with others, or because we recognize that connection with someone else. Ian, the young boy in the video, recognized how disappointed and upset that other boy was. He was able to make that empathetic connection to that other young man and say, you know what? I can give him this. We receive because we need what is given, but we also want that connection through receiving. We need it. So in giving and in receiving, our bonds of love, of community, of friendship are all strengthened. We give without expecting a return, and we receive even when we know we can give nothing in return. As we move towards Good Friday and Easter, remember Mary's generosity in giving and Jesus' generosity in receiving. In all God's names, amen.
Amen.